So we know that the transistor should have S11 and S22 supposed to be less than 1, but there are some cases, special cases, we will get S11 and S21 might be greater than 1. If it is greater than 1, obviously we will get this input reflection coefficient also will be greater than 1. So what sort of issues will come? So if the power is reflected with the input reflection coefficient greater than 1, what will happen? The input power is coming. Let's say the input power is 0.1 watt, and this power will be reflected, and let's say this is greater than 1. Assume that this value is 5, input reflection coefficient equal to 5. So the reflected power will be 5 times of the incident component, which means 0.5 watt power will come. That power will be reflected. The reflected power, let's say if it is 0.4 watt, 1.1 watt power is not reflected. So remaining power is reflected and coming. So that power will go, and this also further will be amplified by this 5 times. So immediately the output means the reflected power will come 2 watt power. So this is the first reflection. This is due to the second reflection. So due to second reflection, you can see that it is coming 2 watt. So this cycle will go on fast, and over the time period, over the time period, the power available at this particular point. Let's say this power available is Pn. We will say Pn dash. So this Pn dash, this value is keep on going to increase. So the beginning value is, we know that it is 0.1. So this 0.12, within a fraction of a second it will reach 0.5, and it will keep on go, and one time it will reach 2, and one particular time if it is reaching 10 watts, it will reach within about 1 microsecond itself. Before we think the transistor will start to burn, because it can't take this much power as an input. So obviously the transistor will burn. That power, minimum power will be there. Let's say one transistor can make only 5 watt power. So that is called burnout power. So that is generally known as BP, burnout power, which is if the value is 5 watts. After 5 watt, while it is reaching 10 watt maximum, after that it will simply burn. The transistor itself will burn. So whatever the input and output circuits, the source, load, whatever, if it is not affected, if this transistor is burnt, or if it is under breakdown, then we can't even get the amplifier working. So that is the important problem being identified. Even till date, this problem is available, and such a transistor is generally known as unstable transistors. So this transistor will lead to all these problems, and because of that, we have to choose the transistor stable. So how to choose the transistor stable? For that, we are having two conditions. One is unconditionally stable transistor, another one is conditionally stable transistor. So what is the meaning of this two? We are having a transistor, and after that we are going to connect this source and load, and this is the amplifier structure. So the transistor supposed to be stable. How we can define this is stable? This input reflection coefficient and the output reflection coefficient, both the values supposed to be less than 1, and for any values of gamma s, gamma l, which means that you choose any source and load, but the S11 gamma in as well as gamma out, input and output reflection coefficient supposed to be less than 1. If we can get any transistor like that, then the transistor is unconditionally stable transistor. So why we have to choose this? Because we know that there are so many modules. For example, there is a antenna. After the antenna, some filter will come, and after the filter, some power dividers are coming, and it is dividing. And after that, assume that we have amplifier. Now we can see this is actually coming after several stages. So whatever the part before that, which is all coming under ZS category. And after that, we have some filter, synthesizer, something. So these all things are coming under ZL category. We do not know what this will be. this as well as this. Before designing amplifier, we do not know what these value could be. So because of that, you choose any values of gamma S and gamma L, sorry, ZS and ZL, but the transistor is supposed to provide only input and output reflection coefficient less than 1. Then the transistor is generally known as unconditionally stable transistor, and this is the preferred one. And there is another one available that is called conditionally stable. What is this conditionally stable? Over a certain range of source and load impedances alone, we will get the gamma S and gamma L less than 1. So what about the other range? In other range, we will get this input reflection coefficient greater than 1 will come. Then this is actually coming under unstable. So since there is a condition, this condition is coming. That is why it is called as conditionally stable transistor. But here there is no condition. You choose any values of gamma S and gamma L. Still it is less than 1. So the transistor will be or the entire amplifier will be stable. So that is what the expected one. So how to check this, whether the transistor is stable or not? For that, a small derivation is available. You go through this derivation, and at the end of this, we will get circle equations. The circle equation will tell the range of gamma S, gamma L. Within that, we will see that the amplifier is, the transistor is stable, or within that the transistor is unstable. Any condition will come. So that circles we can draw in the Smith chart using this center and radius for the input side and as well as output side. So there will be two circles will come for a given transistor, input circle, output circle. For that center and radius is we can easily calculate using this formula. So once the transistor is built, from that by biasing, we will get the S parameter. Once the S parameter is calculated, we have to calculate the determinants of that. For del will come. So from this, we have to calculate the CL, RL, CS, RS. So this circle we have to draw in the Smith chart. So most probably in the exam perspective, this S parameter will be given. So from this you have to start and you have to draw the circles in the Smith chart. So in today's class, we are going to see how to draw the circle, how to calculate the value, how to draw the circle, and I'm going to provide some simple tips so that you can easily draw the. Now, this is, if we consider that is a Smith chart. If this is the Smith chart, and then we can draw the from the center of the Smith chart. First, we have to locate the CL along the particular angle. So we can see that this is actually will be having, let's say, some value like 1.3 angle of 55 degree. Then we have to choose 55 degree first. Then this magnitude is 1, then 1.3 value we have to put a arc. Then this point will come, and let's say this this value is 0.75. Then we have to draw a radius of corresponding to 0.75. 0.75 means not 0.75 centimeter. It is 0.75 times of the radius of the Smith chart. So that is what we are going to see now, how to draw it. And once the circle is drawn, this region is known as unstable region. And this region is stable region. So within that, we can choose any point for the amplifier design. This is the purpose of the Smith chart workout, to draw the circle, and from the circle we can identify the stable region, and within this region we can utilize for amplifier design. So in the next class, we will see how using this remaining region, how to choose a particular point to design an amplifier.